Hey guys, this is lesson 2.4, solving equations using addition and subtraction. So this is just like when we solved equations in the 6th grade, but now we're going to be adding negatives and positives to the whole deal. So first you need to know that the addition property of equality is when two equations are equivalent equations if they have the same solution, okay? So equivalent equations match up if they have the same answer. And when you add the same number to each side of an equation, it produces equivalent equations. So all you need to know is as long as you add the same number to both sides of an equation or subtract the same number from both sides of an equation, it still is true. It still stays equal. So that's what we're going to use here. We're going to do the inverse operations. So what that means is we're going to use operations that cancel each other out. Like if there's addition, we're going to use subtraction. If there's division, we're going to use multiplication. Those are our inverse operations. So the other thing you need to remember from the 6th grade is to solve equations, you do PEMDAS backwards. That's something we need to know when you have multiple steps. So on this one, when we have x minus 5 equals negative 1, we have to do the opposite. So the 5 is a negative, so I am going to put a positive 5 to solve it. I'll add 5 on both sides, all right? So once I add 5 to both sides, I get x equals 4, and that is the number that will make this equation true. So that is the solution. Now you can always check it if you are unsure to make sure that you solved it correctly. And so the solution is x equals 4. It is important that you put the x equals portion because now that you're getting into higher math, there are going to be different variables. So you need to always identify which variable equals what. On this equation, we have z plus 3 over 2 equals 1/2. Now in this equation, the 3 over 2 is positive. So we're going to use a negative 3 over 2 to get rid of it. So we're going to subtract 3 over 2 to both sides. Now keep in mind, subtracting and negative is the same thing. So when that happens, the 3 over 2 cancels out on the left side, and we get z equals negative 1, because 1/2 minus 3 over 2 is negative 1. So the solution here is z equals negative 1. Please be sure you put the z equals. That is important because the variables are changing now. All right, so two things you really need to remember. Use inverse operations to undo the problem so that you can solve for the variable. And the way we do this also is by doing PEMDAS backwards. All right, on this problem, a company has a profit of $750 this week. This profit is $900 more than the profit P last week. Which equation can be used to find P? So the profit this week is $900 more than the profit last week. That sentence right there tells you how to set up the problem. So the profit this week is $750. So we know the answer is going to say $750 equals, because that's exactly what the sentence tells us. Is equals. So we know the answer can't be D or C, all right? And then we know it's going to be 900 more than the profit last week. So more than tells us we're going to switch the order, and we're going to put this green box first, which is P, plus then the yellow box, because they switch positions. So when you plug it all in, you find out the equation is B. 750 equals P plus 900. All right, this problem here is let's putting all our skills together. The line graph shows the scoring while you and your friend played a video game. Write and solve an equation to find your score after level 4. So this is just finding your score after level 4. So you can determine the following from the graph. You can figure out that your friend's score is 33 points less than your score. Now you can determine this because your friend is blue and you are green and you're above your friend. So your friend's score is 33 points less than your score. Now notice that the y is telling us what our points is. This is telling us that it's level 4, and this is telling your friend has -8 points. So we can let S be your score after level 4. So they don't tell you the variable to use, so you made a definition. Now this is telling your definition. S equals your score after level 4. All right, that's our definition. So now we can say your friend's score, which is -8, equals 33 points less than your score, and your score is S, so S minus 33. At this point, this is our equation. So now we can just solve it. Notice we are subtracting, so to get rid of that, to isolate our variable, to get our variable by itself, we must add. We need to add 33 to both sides. -8 plus 33 is 25, so your score after level 4 is 25 points. Notice that you can always check by looking at your graph and looking at where it lines up and seeing that it is reasonable because it does match the graph. And that's the end of this lesson. Go ahead and try your classwork. Be very careful with your signs and solving these equations and letting me know if you have any questions.